All right, so I just had breakfast with one of my favorite people, Jack McCall. I've actually written about him before. Whenever we sit together at a breakfast, something usually happens. Some of you will recall a story about sitting at an IHOP and a guy coming up, and we asked if he wanted prayer, and he dropped to his knees. And even today, as we had breakfast, a guy came up right as we were praying for our breakfast, and so we just said, "Hey, do you need prayer for anything?" And he said, "Yeah, my son." And so we prayed for his son, and he just you just know that you're just the Holy Spirit is moving on people, and it's so refreshing. And I realized as Jack and I were talking, the reason when I'm out here in Silicon Valley that I like to just connect with him is because one, I know that when it's easy and when it's tough, no matter what, he is still getting before the Lord every morning. He calls it his appointment with God. That even if it's 10 minutes or an hour, he and his wife Louise are just journaling and he's seeking the Lord. And as a result, he's always got crazy stories. He's doing things. He's hearing the Lord prompt him to do things. He at times just gives all the money in his wallet to people, and it's just amazing walk that doesn't have any real formula per se. It leads him in all kinds of places, in and out of organizations and churches across denominations. I love it. It's so refreshing. And so I wanted just to introduce him again to some of you. He's a good, godly man. He's on this wild adventure called with the Holy Spirit. And it occurred to me the one thing I wanted to ask him about, just to share, in a brief way. And you can never get from Jack what's really there in a brief way. You have to sign up for his blog. He every week sends something out to people. It's one of the few that I read every week, so do that. I'll put a link below as to how you can do that. But it occurred to me as we wrapped up, the thing that is so disarming and refreshing about him are two things. One, how incredibly open he is. He's not trying to hide anything. He'll tell you about his past and all the
The
sin
gory
and the
details.
gory details if you need them. And the second thing is, which is so fitting, and I think why we get along so well with this my blog is he just does stuff. He doesn't wait around. He takes action. He'll pray with people right on the spot. There's a hands-on nature to your faith that is rare, and I
Mm.
love it. So, whatever you want to say, Jack, openness, action orientation, what is it that you would share with probably people who aren't believers in Jesus? Some are, a wide range. Anything that really kind of like been tickling you lately?
Well, I think, Ryan, um, and I think you're like this, is that the word approachable popped into my mind right away is that Jesus was very approachable.
Mm,
And I haven't always been that way. So I was just into the money and making money. And up until about the time I was 40 years old and I gave my life to Jesus, it was all about insecurity and guarding myself and making sure that I didn't get hurt anymore.
yeah.
And I think falling in love with Jesus and praying daily has led me to be this very approachable person
Wow.
where I think,
Which is pretty right. A lot of times, people that don't know Jesus, they associate Christians or people that like Jesus with being unapproachable.
yeah, unapproachable.
So for you, it's quite the opposite. I mean, you're one of the most joyful guys I know too. You always got a smile. In fact, you guys know, and my wife would tell you this. One of my struggles is often when I'm not feeling it or I'm not feeling great or I haven't slept enough, which is a lot with little kids. I don't feel joyful. I'm not happy. It probably have that look on my face.
Mm-hmm.
And we sit down for breakfast and he hands me a book. What's it called? Resisting
Resisting
Happiness,
happiness.
about finding joy. So I'm like, God uses him all the time in ways like that, where it's like speaking right to probably one of the heart issues I have, which is actually not being that happy and joyful some of the time, and as a result, not being that approachable. And you are, now that you say it, are one of the most approachable guys. You're laughing, you got a smile on your face.
Yeah.
Even when your wife passed away, I mean, it was a hard time. And we had breakfast, and I went to her funeral, as did hundreds of other people.
Yes, thank you.
And through that, even this difficult trial, you'd been married for decades. it was like I still wanted to be around you because just seeing the way you were dealing with it and the way you were pointing people to Jesus was powerful.
Yeah, that
You're
was the
so
Holy Spirit.
you're approachable even when a lot of times when someone passes away, people avoid the person who's mourning
Hmm.
because they don't know what to do. I know this. I lost my sister, and people like they're there right away, and then they kind of like they don't know what to do.
It's quiet.
And so even in loss, the Holy Spirit connects us and makes people come to you. I'm sure, did that happen? Did you
It,
find
it,
people?
it did. I mean, I was still ministering to people, but when I look back at the few months after my late wife's death, I went through a depression of sorts that I hadn't experienced before, and I masked it by acting joyful.
Really?
But as I look back now, I was in trouble,
Yeah.
and there were people that came out of the woodwork that
Wow.
you and a number of other people who knocked on my door and
Wow.
forced me to come out, and
Wow.
but it was a rougher time than I could have ever anticipated.
I bet.
And I think it was normal to feel down, and the loss was a big one. We were married 44 years, so.
Yeah.
But um, I've since been, I'm remarried now, and
Yeah.
to a wonderful woman.
Which is a miraculous story.
Miraculous.
You couldn't script.
That's another story.
Another story for another time. But yeah,
Yeah.
I have so enjoyed knowing you for the past 4 years, maybe already 5 years, something like that,
And likewise. Yeah.
and really would love to just work with you, co-labor with you in the kingdom, and really even talk about at some point, not today, but how is it that a guy like you and a guy like me stay connected? What are the ways that we actually stay involved in each other's life? It's imperfect. It's not, we're miles and miles apart, but we can sit down and have breakfast and pick right back up. And I feel like a lot of younger guys crave that, miss that, don't have that. And so at some point we can maybe write something together about, practically speaking, what does it look like to just pour into someone's life or receive counsel from you, that kind of thing. And I know that, Christians in Commerce is a ministry that you've been a part of and invested in. So we can look at some organizations guys can get plugged in at to help that go down that road if necessary. But it's just a joy to be with you and just to have breakfast together and pray together and catch up on life. So thanks so much for being willing to kind of hop on my little blog here. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye, guys.
Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome.